This is Doak Campbell Stadium on the campus of Florida State University, where Saturday night Virginia Tech and the Florida State Seminoles meet in ACC football. Time for today's Bojangles game preview presented by Bojangles, an official tailgate partner of Virginia Tech Athletics. Be sure to stop by a participating Bojangles restaurant, pick up a limited edition Hokie-themed Big Bo box, inspired by Hokies defensive coordinator Bud Foster, for a limited time. It'll be senior night here at Florida State Saturday night when the Hokies and the Noles meet. Bill Roth with Mike Burnup here standing on Bobby Bowden Field. It's good to be back in town here at Florida State. Good to see the Hokies and the Noles go at it again.
Yeah, it's been a long rivalry, Billy, that started back in 1955. And I think the last 6 meetings, it's 3-3. They had some great games back in the day, Frank Beamer and Bobby Bowden. It was awesome, and the stadium looks great after the renovation. Field is in great shape. Looking forward to the game.
Now, for those of you that don't know, Mike Burnup played in this rivalry. Back in the 70s, Mike, this was a big rivalry when both teams were independents.
They were. They sure were, Billy. And unfortunately, when I was playing, we never beat the Seminoles. But they have had success against them 13 times. But it's been a tough rivalry.
Look at these highlights. That's Don Strock throwing. Lane Stadium back in the 70s. You played in this game. Very cool film that we had to break out of the archives this week.
We sure did. Look at that north end zone when they had bleachers set up, temporary ones. And the south end zone had that big scoreboard with the gobbler on top that used to whack and dop after every score. The Corps of Cadets. That was some fun times back there, Billy.
Sure was. Of course, in more recent times, the stadiums, both in Blacksburg and Florida State, at Tallahassee, have been renovated. Everyone remembers the 2000 National Championship game, Mike, between these two teams, Coach Beamer, Coach Bowden. The Hokies were unbeaten. Florida State, #1 under Bobby Bowden all season long. One of the great games in Tech history, despite the fact that FSU came out on top, rallying in the fourth quarter.
They sure did. The Hokies had the lead going into the fourth quarter, but Michael Vick was sensational. You know, I'll never forget, it was 28-7 right before the half. He had a big, long touchdown run, or a long run to set up the touchdown, and he was phenomenal in that game. I remember Bobby Bowden after the game said, boy, we just couldn't tackle that young man.
15 years ago in the ACC championship game, it was Tyrod Taylor's night down in Charlotte.
Sure was. It was a cold night down there. Tyrod played well, high-scoring game, but the Hokies came out on top. And Coach Beamer and Coach Bowden had a nice embrace after that one.
You can't overestimate the job that Beamer at Tech did and Bobby Bowden here, clearly legendary coaches that put these programs on the map.
They sure did, Bill. It was amazing to see. Both of them had great runs. And you think about, I was thinking about Coach Beamer. He played in this game, too, when they had a great rivalry back in 1966, 7, and 8 against Ron Sellers, one of the great all-time receivers, an All-American at Florida State, going up against Frank Beamer and Frank Loria. Those were some great times back then.
Of course, the last time Virginia Tech played in this stadium in a primetime game, Mike, it was a good night for the Hokies.
Hokies, it was a good night. Cunningham blocked a punt and Kuhlman recovered it. I can see Coach Fu on the sideline putting up, go for one, kick the extra point. And that was a good night for the Hokies. That was the opening game. Florida State was ranked, and the Hokies got them.
Yeah, it was a big crowd here. Big touchdown catch. I guess it was Hazelton right over here over my right shoulder.
Yep, right in the corner over there, sure was.
All right, so they've played a lot. This will be the 39th meeting. It's been a disappointing season, obviously, for both teams. There's a lot of uncertainty on both sidelines. I think everyone understands that. But what about this game specifically, Mike, Saturday night? Give us 3 keys for the Hokies to come out of here with a win.
Well, I think the first one is you got to corral Tommy Castellanos. You know, the Hokies have seen him before 2 times the last 2 years when he was at Boston College. He did not have a lot of success against the Hokies in those games, but he is a true dual threat quarterback. He can beat you with his arm, beat you with his legs. And so that's the key to the thing. Keep him corralled, get a lot of hats around him, and try to keep him off target and keep him behind the sticks.
Well, controlling Castellanos and limiting Florida State's big plays, clearly a key for the Hokies defensively Saturday night. Offensively, Mike, you want to see the Hokies go green.
I do. You know, Aiden Green and Donovan Green, both of those guys average about 16, 17 yards per catch. Donovan Green hadn't had a catch in 3 games, Billy. Aiden only had 1 against Louisville. They got to get the ball down the field. 76 yards passing against Louisville will not cut it against Florida State. Got to get the ball down the field, get those guys involved.
We've seen the Hokies and Florida State play on a bunch of different fields over the years, whether it's here, Lane Stadium, Charlotte, Jacksonville, Orlando, down in New Orleans. What comes to mind when the Hokies have a tight game with FSU and one play returns it. It's a Florida State punt return.
Yeah, special teams. And that's something that has hurt the Hokies of late. You think about Lacey. Colin Lacey had 106 yards against the punt cover team. I mean, he was going through there like a hot knife through butter, Billy. Not good. South Carolina had the big return. Georgia Tech had a 46-yard return. The punt cover team has got to be good against Florida State because they got a guy named Squirrel White, and he is quick.
Hokies in Florida State right here on Bobby Bowden Field. Hope you can join us on your hometown Tech Network radio station. Here's all our broadcast coverage for Saturday night's game. We're on the air at 5:30. Kickoff at 7:30. You can catch us on the Hokie Sports mobile app, on Sirius XM radio, and if you're coming to the game here in Tallahassee, 94.3 on the FM dial at Doak Campbell Stadium. Virginia Tech and Florida State for the 39th time in the rivalry. We'll talk with you Saturday night from Tallahassee.